Welcome to No Direction Beyond, your Starfinder news, reviews, and interviews podcast. I'm Alexander Agunis, a No Direction's everyman gamer, and I'm joined, as always, by the most intrepid Starfinder this side of the galaxy, James.
Hi, I'm James. I used to write Code Switch.
We're back after gosh, our last show was at the beginning in the middle of like October. Obviously we do this show about once a month, and James and I wanted to spend Thanksgiving with our families. So we waited until the 29th. So here we are, ready to review the not so new anymore, but still newest Starfinder hardcover, Starfinder Enhanced.
Yay, finally. I mean, we got that preview of it the last episode and finally be able to dig into it. And we've had some
Yeah,
time. Not that I've
right.
used that smart, but you know.
Right. So I want to preface by saying that we are not going to be covering the Solarian or the Envoy in this review. The reason is that we did a very in-depth dive onto both classes in our last episode, number 78. If you want to hear our thoughts on those specific classes, please roll back to that episode. We're going to go over everything else that we did not go over to today.
Which is like the rest of the book, all like 170 pages ish.
5 million pages, every page.
So, at the
Before we look at it, I want to know, James,
yeah,
when we go into this book, what was your expectation for what Starfinder Enhanced was?
a new list of Starship rules.
Wow, that is a very small ask, but hopefully the book delivers well on that.
I don't think we have to spoil it. There are rules, updated rules for
Yeah,
Starship combat.
yeah, there definitely are. And would you like to begin? You were about to go. You said you're ready to go. You're boom boom.
I know because there's a lot. Like this is a very dense book with a lot of stuff that is very important to not very important, really depending on how your group plays. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
So we're not going to be able to read everything in depth. We're not going to go feet by feet, but we're going to give you like general impressions and vibes of the sections and go over some of our favorite options in this book. And then hopefully by the end, we should be able to answer for you, is this book one that is going to enhance your Starfinder game?
that's good. That's a good tagline.
I did it. Look at that.
I like it. The first section is those things at the start, backgrounds. That's it. The things you take at the beginning. The backgrounds, as you'll see later when we get into archetypes, I feel are starting to get less not important, but mixed in with how archetypes work with your character because they're really throwing a lot of things in this book that increase the power base of a character. And
Yeah. One thing that's interesting about these backgrounds is like a lot of them are reprints from adventure paths.
yeah,
Like a lot of them are. And I haven't had a chance to like go over a comparison, but I've heard that in some of the cases they got errated. Like the paranormal investigator one was originally released in the three-fold conspiracy adventure path, and apparently that one was so busted that they banned it from organized play. I hope this one isn't busted, but it's in here. There's a really great picture of an android just looking at some dude's skull. It's very macabre.
let me see. Let's
That's
see.
page 13.
13. Oh, that art. That art is
Look at that
beautiful.
lady. She's like, oh, the skull.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's some of the really gorgeous art that's in this book. Because man, there's a couple times I stopped and I just sent in our Discord just pictures of things in this book because they're just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
beautiful.
There's also some art in this section that's like, I don't know if horrifying is the right word, but like I had to stop and just look at the picture of the Skittermander on page 14. And like that's here. Somebody drew that.
That's not horrifying. That's just Richard Skitterminders.
Richard Skittermanders. He
Yeah,
looks like an 80s, like I mean, like the archetype is personal trainer. He looks like one of those 80s TV personal trainers. So like mission accomplished. You
yeah.
did it.
I mean, it's. I think it works fine. I think it's good art. Um, yeah, but like later on, there'll be some archetypes. Some of the archetypes are things like sports coach, which if
Yeah.
you were to tell me, I would guess was a background. Uh,
Yeah, definitely.
the things are a little bit different when you actually get there. So it really is just a matter of like amount of power that they give you that I think is the delineation now between backgrounds, which I'm sorry are actually called themes,
Yeah,
and the archetypes themselves.
definitely. Did you have a favorite theme out of the ones here?
Mm, I enjoyed Rancher because I think that art is very good, and any
That looks like your character from our for Vanessa's game. Stellar.
similar, yeah, similar.
Yeah.
We kind of went for that kind of folksy, homesy vibe.
Yeah. I can't believe it took until the last rule book of this game to get a vid gamer arc theme. Like, there's a vid gamer in here, This was not in any other book prior. They've done a bunch.
I feel like I've seen this 1,000 times, but it's a Mandela effect.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's absolutely an Mandela effect.
I
So if we flip the next page, the next section is new species, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, some of the art is, terrifying, at least to me.
Do you
Where
have
you yeah, where you
which
think
one do
that
you think is the most
Skittermander's
favorite?
where you think the Skittermander's creepy, I think this thing is.
The Alana?
Yeah, Elianaya.
Like, so I don't know how to tell a person of a species that their face looks like an AI generated it. But, but
Hey,
I should write that down because that would be just a devastating envoy quip to just tell someone that. It'd be good. Um yeah, so in total this book introduces several new species and it reprints a few from various sources as well. There's the Alania, there's the Alibrian. The Alibrians are the inhabitants of Eox before they died, which is pretty cool. I think they were originally published in Dead Sons. Does that sound right?
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. There is the Endiffin. I think the Endiffin are new. I don't recognize that face. It's definitely a face only a mother could love.
No, no, they were in a
Um,
previous book if I remember correctly.
oh, were they?
Yeah. I think they're
Oh,
from
cool.
a, Aeons Against Aeon Thrones adventure pack.
Oh yeah. All of the races from the alien deck, the traditional Galarian ones like the Knolls, the Gripply, the Kitsune, the Samsarans, they all made it into. There's living holograms, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Living
Uh
Holograms, I guess is not new to me because it's in Pack Worlds, but, like,
yeah.
it just stuck more at this time because I had to double check.
Well, what's interesting is that the living holograms have been monsters since Dead Sons, but they were never playable. Like this is the first time we've had stats for them, which is cool. Fetchlings under the name of Kaal are in this book. There's also the Moishu, which I believe are also from Aeon Throne, but I could be wrong about that. There are two new species that I can confirm are new. There's the Navians, which are little stars that some people really like, and I also think they look really creepy, but some people like being creepy cute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this fits creepy cute. This thing would eat lint from your pocket and then just, like, have your family strung up on hooks.
Yeah, Lava Being in chat says Pac-Man is real. The other new one is a Fey species called the Skiridae. I think that they're fine. They look cute, but I feel like they're the same kind of mischievous cute as Skittermanders, so I don't really know that I need them, but cool. I'm glad you made it here. You're gonna make someone real happy, Skiridae.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the dromedarians, so I'm fine with them.
That That's true. Also, Kitsune, best art ever of a Kitsune in this game system or in Pathfinder, either edition. I love that picture. He he's just great. It's such a good pose to me. It makes me very happy. Thumbs up.
I like the jacket. I feel like I'd wear that jacket.
Right? He's just styling. He's good. He's a very good fox. What's your favorite species here that they brought and enhanced?
My favorite is the Novians because they just
Yeah.
sound scary and I want to use them and they're tiny, which I think is just
Yeah.
infinitely funny as a player character.
You know what I like besides Kitsune? I like the holograms because there is no reason I can't reflavor this to be a crystal gem.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah, which is pretty cool. So if you're a Steven Universe fan, the holograms do a good job. They have hard light bodies. They kind of naturally heal. They're robotic. They have a programmed appearance that they generate. It's very. I mean, you'd have to take classes to get their abilities, which is fine by me. But slap some of those gloves that shrink the things on your hands. The gloves of storing. Boom, you got a crystal gem.
Yeah,
Good
I
times.
was thinking Cortana from Halo, but yeah, Crystal Gem
Yeah.
probably is more correct.
I mean, I think Cortana is not tangible, right?
N-
Can she touch things?
Not usually, but I also haven't played any of the games since 4 because
Yeah.
4 was a game.
Mm,
uh
yeah.
and then
I
we
like how Mira Wolf agrees with me that that is a good looking fox.
uh
Also,
mhm.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
Oh,
to cut you
no,
off.
that's good. Next up are class features. More class features.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. So I would say the majority of this book is class features. And so we did a deep dive on the updates to the Solarian and the Envoy in last week and I almost said last week when it's really been like a month and a half. But our last episode, And then there's all the new like features for them. But every class has at least a spread of features, which is pretty cool. Um, you anything on the anything that really sticks in your mind that you want to talk about?
Mm. I,
Is
I
it?
I thought you were going to take a little bit about the biohacker because you have a lot more
Yeah.
experience playing one than I do.
Oh, I would be happy to. So as people who watch the show might know, I played Shivi on Stellar with James and Vanessa and lots of other great folks. And so I do know a bit about the biohacker. Um, I think that hypermycology, which is like you study fungi, is cool. The reason I think it's cool is because it's the first biohacker, and it's sadly going to be the only biohacker field of study that like it has to do with a science that's not based around people, if that makes sense. Like
Hmm.
all of the other ones are like pharmacy, doing drugs on you, like how your body chemistry works, which is all really fun and cool. But like this is the first one that I'm like, oh, weird science, love it. It's really good at you can like basically inject people with mildly invasive mushrooms, and it either gives them hit points if it's a booster or if it's an inhibitor.
Hmm.
It reduces healing they take, so like it's like the anti-healer. The mushrooms just take all of it. It's very Last of Us. I love it. The breakthrough for it lets you deliver a fungal infection to the creature, and it like messes with their body. Like you can literally make it mushrooms grow in their eyes so that they take penalties to like perception checks and treating other enemies as being invisible because you can't see them from all the spores growing in your eyes. You can infect their brain to make them confused. You can like infect different parts of their body in order to uh basically cause like mushrooms to like them to treat things as walls. It's pretty cool. Like it creates an impassable mushroom wall. Like
Hmm.
it's just cool. It's very cool. I highly recommend this if none of the other flavor of the biohacker works for you with like the medical stuff. Like this is fun.
Yeah, and
Thumbs up.
and they have other expansions like to the class with the theorems. There
Yeah.
are some in that mycology vein, like Rising Cap, which just has you grow a mushroom that can take you up like an elevator.
Yeah.
To more pragmatic things like turning sniper rifles into injection weapons, increasing your minor inhibitors to make them more debuffing against enemies. So there,
Yeah.
and mycelial network is sounds fun. I think it's very cool and creepy. Kind of like
Yes.
status between you and other people that are in contact with the ground.
There's like a weirdly specific number of mushroom themed abilities in this section, and I don't hate it, but it makes me wish that we were getting more stuff that to give theorems that felt like they went with a lot of the other options. Because if the biohacker had a problem, it's a lot of its options were very generic and not very exciting and often weaker than other classes variants. I'm looking at you, the field dressing. Oh my god, that one made me so always makes me angry whenever I talk about it. I also like so I know you don't do a lot of Pathfinder second edition, James, but
Hmm.
Pathfinder second edition does a lot of things where like the names are funny in a pun kind of way. And so like the fact that one of the new theorems is called do more harm instead of do no harm is really good. I'm a big fan of that.
I do
That's
like
good.
it. I do like it. It's a
Yeah.
good. There's a bunch of I think good names and good
Yeah.
puns and references in the book.
It's just nice because up until recently, I'd say like the Envoy was the only class allowed to have pun names. And like now it's like, oh, the pun is spreading, it grows. I love
Yeah,
it.
I think more varieties of classes get it. I think a couple had
Yeah.
them, but yeah. And just
Um,
very quickly, this is the Navasi art that I sent to the group because I love it. It's amazing. She looks
yeah.
bothered while shooting people, and that's a 10 out of 10.
It's a very James mood like that.
Just inconvenienced.
Yes. I like the digital disease theorem. I just think that's such a cool idea. You can basically treat weapons that do energy damage as if they were injection weapons for the purpose of your class abilities, because like you could essentially just inject things with raw energy, and it's like it's such a stretch, but I love it.
It's even worded weird, but it's weird in the way that the rest of the class is, so
Yeah.
it fits. It totally fits.
Mhm.
And
I
next,
think the biohacker should be about breaking rules because you're hacking how things supposed to work.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. And then the next up class that has stuff is Envoy. You can look at the last show for that.
Yeah.
And the next one up is Evolutionist. Evolutionist gets a new, I always want to call them connections, but they're niches. Uh,
Yeah.
this one's Divine. You choose a subtype, Celestial, Entropic, Fiendish, or Resolute. and your mutation points allow you to overcome DR and get DR from your alignment, and your drawbacks give you penalties when you're hit by the opposing alignment. Basically, the long and short of it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Um, I don't know. I'm going to admit that like of all of Starfinder's classes, this is one of two that I've never played. The other one is the Nanosite. And like I don't know. I just look at the evolutionist and I'm like, wow, look at that weird point system where the points go up and down and like I'm not really sure if this is actually helpful. What am I doing this for? It feels like a lot to track to me. And so like this class didn't change my mind. This is I think that if you like evolutionists and you like niches, you'll like this. If you're like me and you're just like, I'm not feeling this mechanic, probably won't change your mind.
I do think that you get a lot more things to spend NP on, and I know that's something
Yeah.
that's been building over books. Uh, but I think now there is enough variance of powers here to spend your MP on, or to spend things like increased reactions, which you're going to be
Yeah.
seeing a lot more of in this book. Um, that you can kind of fit that niche, because I agree. I usually look at the evolutionist, and in my head, in the back of my head, I heard, "Stop trying to make the shifter happen. It's not going to happen." But
Yeah.
a lot in this book changes that. I think the specific change point uh, was, I think it was around either the healing mutation um, or the plentiful augmentations. But I was looking through, and the ideas of what you could do because you had more open spaces in your build started to like click. Like, oh, this is just a class that you get a lot of benefit from system mastery of.
Yeah, definitely. It really is. Like I would say that one of the strongest evolution adaptations that really exemplifies this is broad augmentation, which is a option that lets you pick a number of total levels of augmentations up to your level, and those augmentations that you pick count as being part of your niche's like associated augmentation type, even if they normally aren't. So like if you are divine and yours is magitech, you could pick like if you're level 10, you could pick 10 levels worth of of necrographs, or you could pick 10 levels worth of cybernetics, and those count for all of your abilities, which not only do they include the really good buffs, like this is wild if you pick the one option that specializes you in augmentations,
Hmm.
but it's also like, whoa, I get to apply my discount to these. Like I can put these in my body for cheaper. It's very good. It's definitely a class that if you are someone who likes picking through every piece of equipment and finding the perfect combinations, you will love this class. I think the nanosite is like that too.
Yeah, yeah. And the 18th level powers, specifically Cunning Deactivation, which allows you to turn off an augmentation to get more MP, and Empowered Strike,
Yeah.
which allows you to use a big burst of MP to deal significantly more damage, uh, I think are very key to that like idea that you are the uh, top of the food chain. To try to use
Yeah.
that analogy there, I think they're very good choices.
I would say I think so. I have not played in a an evolutionist myself, but I'm one of the GM NPCs in Teenage Wasteland that my players can choose to bring with them, who ends up getting brought to many places because he's in a polyamorous relationship with one of the PCs.
Hmm.
Is a character who is an evolutionist, and one of the ones that I'm like, whoa, about is Secondary Strike.
Hmm.
Which one of the things I didn't like about the core evolutionist is like it only had one. You either got a ranged or a melee, and now with this you can get the other, and it's like, all of a sudden now I could have a natural gun, and I can have a natural bop.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah, you can have your cake and eat it too, and you could get a third attack. Like later in the book, there's a feat that allows you to reactionarily vomit on somebody.
Oh, the feats, the feats.
So after the evolutionist is the mechanic.
Yeah. Um. So, do you want to rain on the mechanics parade, or should I? I think you should. I think you had thoughts and feelings about this section, right?
I do, but I think they're less negative than yours.
Oh, I mean, I think I don't know. I whatever. But there are a couple of tricks in this book that I like, but they don't feel like they should be class options. They feel like they should be things anybody can do. That is my big annoyance with this section. The one that I'm going to point out that to me is the most egregious is disguised weapon. You're telling me I need to be someone specialized in like how machines work in order to make one item look like another one. That doesn't make sense to me. I should be able to go to the store and buy some like tin foil and like paper mache and try my best. Even if I'm not a mechanic, I can't do it very well. I should be able to.
Yeah, I totally get you on that.
Yeah.
I think some of the things that the mechanic gets, especially through their tricks, are things that complete the mechanic mythos, like Jerry Rig, which allows you to fix something much quicker at a higher
Yeah.
chance of having it break, like repairing an item as a move action, which seems like something a mechanic might be able to do. There's also a bunch of classes that get feats that a lot of them spend a resolve point to kind of re-roll their um, token skill. So if you failed an engineering check, recalculation allows you to spend resolve to do that, uh, making you seem more competent, which is good. I did notice that for mech defense expert and mech offense expert, they don't list a duration for changing the mech because these are things that allow
Mhm.
you to improve a mech either offensively or defensively,
Yeah.
and that's kind of weird. It's just like, is this just a forever thing? I make a check and now it's just forever, and now I don't need this ability anymore? Or are you now going to retire and be a mech talker?
Yes. You should. Also, can you show them the art on page 48? I love that art. That's such a cool art.
Oh, of the Advance and Vanquish.
Yeah. I'm hoping that Quig makes it into second edition because the mechanic isn't in the core rulebook for second edition as far as we know. So we don't know if he's actually going to be a continuing and iconic or if he's going to retire like Teskadai is. But like Quig's art is routinely some of the coolest in this game in my opinion. I love it. Like that pick is so good. Like I just don't even know what else to say about it other than I love it and he is such a good scrap rat, such a good boy. One thing that I think is funny is there's a jury rig mechanic trick in this book. There's also a jury rig spell, and I'm pretty sure they've used the word jury rig for at least one theme ability. What's interesting about it is what usually ends up happening is if you're a writer, you see, oh, there's a thing that doesn't exist. I'm going to write it. And then like no, everybody will cross check in that one lane, but then they won't cross check in other lanes. So like there's no jury rig mechanic option. You would never think that there would be a jury rig spell for technomancers, but there is, and it's just funny. Like it's one of the reasons why you ended up with like several overlapping archetypes in first edition.
Hmm.
It's on something we call parallel design, where I think it's done similarly at multiple times. It's fun. I looked at that. I was like, yeah, that definitely
Oh yeah,
is.
love being also brings up diplomatic immunity, which is totally also something
Yeah,
that comes up multiple times.
yeah, absolutely.
A couple more tricks for the mechanic just to kind of flesh it out. I love holographic duplicate. That's
Uh,
the ability from Mirage from Apex, where you just put a dumb clone of yourself that runs forward. That's fun. I enjoy that. It's great. Um,
is it super dumb?
oh, it doesn't think. It just kind of walks across or tries to get as far as it can away from you.
Do you think ranged coordination is weird as a mechanic trick? It feels like an envoy improvisation to me.
Mm, yeah,
Because
but it. I think it increases just the overall power level.
yeah, I think I feel like mechanic gets in this weird spot where like it's not allowed to be as good at skills as the envoy or the operative, and it's not allowed to be as good at fighting as the operative, and it's not allowed to like I don't know, hit as accurately unless you're the exocortex. I think that the mechanic has consistently struggled to have a good like niche that like it's good in.
Yeah.
So
I also remote mech operation, um, remote threat hacking, and remote
yeah,
starship operation. Also, I think are things that people that have played mechanics, especially people that are new to the game, um, get kind of sad that they can't do.
yeah,
So they are a little bit higher level, but the fact that they're even just there now and written in rules, I think is goes a long way to fulfilling that fantasy. Going over to the next class is the Mystic. They put a new connection, Accord, which goes for Abadar, Asmodeus, Dagosarn, and Lasala. It allows you to have more packs with your uh,
mhm.
allies. It forms like a group, so you kind of get things like status on them and keeps you linked for 24 hours. Um, you can also share resolve points or give them as part of that to help keep them alive and give them abilities, which is cool.
It's like this new isolation connection.
Is that what? Oh, that's the second one. I
Yeah,
only I just got to Accord. I was like, wait a minute, accord doesn't mean isolation. Do I not know English?
Of course you do. It's fine. I don't know. I think this one is pretty cool. You could do a lot of like abilities that make it so that you could sort of ignore different effects in the game. Like the first one, Silent State, makes it so that like uh you basically don't gain benefits from aiding other people or the harrying fire actions, and you take a penalty to do those actions, but it gives you a bonus of saving throws against a bunch of different things like emotion, fear, of mind affecting pain, sense dependent, sonic. And then when the silent state ends, you get the an insight bonus. You take the insight bonus from the channel skill ability, and you can apply it to the next skill check you got because you basically like isolated yourself and now have the answer, which is pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah,
Um,
it kind of reminds me of like our inverse barbarian rage.
yeah. So one of the things I really like about that is like all the abilities play off of this silent state. You know that it's kind of like a meditative version of rage, exactly like you just said. And I like it because it makes it feel like choosing this connection is really like a mechanical choice that gives you a lot of really cool things that play off of each other.
Hmm.
Uh Kind of like how the for the healing one, like a lot of the stuff plays off of channel energy.
Right, right. Yeah, and just jumping back with Accord real fast, Pact Defense allows you to split saving throws.
Yeah.
Path of Focus allows you to spare focus. Allows you to share like senses and stuff. So they're both good, I think. Also, there's a lot of things that add transposition. That's one of the Accord's powers, but a lot of classes get an ability that allows you to link and switch spaces, including non-magical classes, which is weird to see, but I guess it's a design space that wanted to be explored.
Definitely. I mean, I poor isolation. He needs more love. Um, so the one thing that you can do with it is you get this ability called meditative purge at a ninth level, where basically you can end your silent state to put either lesser restoration or remove condition on yourself. It ends your silent state doing it, and you can only do it once per day. You get more as you level up. And eventually you can spend a resolve point when doing it to instead put like true restoration on yourself. So you could just be like,
Ooh.
meditate. All the negative levels are gone as you emerge.
Ooh.
It's very cool. And then there's Shifter, which isn't the shifter that I wanted, but it's a very good shifter. I like how it gets all the polymorph spells and you get like a whole bunch of cool natural attacks. Um, you also can give yourself damage reduction against kinetic damage and energy damage, which is pretty cool. You get a healing factor. I like that they called it healing factor. It makes me think of Marvel, Deadpool, Go, Wolverine, the Shifter, Harkle.
It is weird that they I don't see any art for the shifter, or it's on the next page, but it's like it just gets kind of like thrown in there.
Yeah, there's like a weird like plant thing with Keskadai growing vines, which I don't know why that's there. And honestly, I don't know what that first picture is too, where it like he looks like he's crumbling into ash. Is that supposed to be isolation? I don't know. The art in this section doesn't feel like it matches the connections, but cool, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things. It is what it is. It's still pretty art.
Yeah, Mirror Wolf points out my favorite part about the shifter, which is the final ability lets you either turn into a colossal creature or you could turn into a living starship. Who
I love the living starship, especially with the revised starship rules.
Yes, it's very cool. Big fan. Hey, do you like the next section? You've been playing one of these characters recently.
I do. Sorry, I'm doing one thing here. Da. Sorry, and yeah, there's a lot of things for the nanosec. That's the next one up. They give them a new faculty, which is like I just want to call every base choice a connection, and I know that's not right. Uh, that's just in my brain. Uh, it gives you the ability to do things and interact. It kind of feels like a miss, not a miss, but a different version of a entropy class.
Yeah.
My brain is dying. Uh,
I really like that new faculty. The body faculty with the body array where like you can have your nanites rebuild you as like so that you have damage reduction or energy resistance. That's just cool.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it looks. I I just like being heavy and dense, and also you can use your Constitution in place of your Strength modifier for melee damage.
It's so good.
Mhm.
It's so good. Finally, saving the nanos. Like, are all the bees going to be now metal bees,
I
like
know,
Metal Mario?
and there's so many, like, melee combat, options that are also, put into, the Nax here. But I think one of the, like, sleeper picks is Intelligent Nanites, which is a swift
Oh,
action, lets you spend a nanite surge to gain a number of temporary ranks equal to your nanosite level in a skill that you have no ranks in for a number of minutes equal to your constitution modifier. Later on, you can upgrade that to make it a class skill. So if your party does not have a thing, you can just spend one of your class feature points and just get that thing.
I love stylish nanites. I don't think this is any use whatsoever, but basically what it does is when you form an item with your gear array that grants a bonus to charisma-based skills, the bonus goes up by 1 and the item's hardness is improved by your constitution because you have your nanites reconfigure your clothing to be the cutting edge of fashion. I love it. It's so good. Off the top of my head, I can't think what you would use that for, but I love it. Unironically,
I guess if you just like wanted to fit in with the Ocean's 11 plot,
right? Just like,
and
like honestly, if the ability just did that and it was like, I rebuild your outfit as a new outfit, like, oh, thank you.
there's also stuff for getting shields, temporary health, uh, airwalk, which is fine because it's a really weird version of airwalk. Uh,
Uh,
there is also the ability to make cars.
I want a car. Make me a car, James.
I can't make you a car, but I can make a car that we can use. Uh, yeah, it allows you to just change your nanites into a vehicle as well. And
Uh,
that one I believe is a relatively low level one.
did you see weighted for throwing? That looks like it's pretty good. Weighted for throwing makes it so that if your nanites create a thrown weapon, then that thrown weapon gains the recall property, meaning it automatically comes back to you. And on top of that, you use your con for damage instead of melee, instead of your strength.
I love not having to use my strength. Strength is
So
awful.
good. I also like how there's an ability called Combusting Cloud where you make explosions. Just it's so good.
Here we go. It's called Niantic Escape. With
Uh-huh.
this knack, you learn one terrestrial vehicle of large size or smaller as a bonus major form as part of your gear array.
I love it. I love it so much.
I was like, I can't
Make
remember
me
the name. I wish the name was something different, but it's fine. Also, you can make cybernetic zombies as well, reanimating nanites.
so good. It's so good.
Yeah, they went
Yeah, no.
full Mass Effect on it.
Yeah, I think that out of all the classes, the nanosite is one of the ones that wins hard that isn't like completely redone. Like it just has a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and Nanosite I feel is a class that it kind of gets it doesn't have a lot of the power in itself. Like you do it's one of those other classes I'll say again, system mastery. The more you know about
Yeah,
things that you can make in the game, the better that class will be to you, and I think will
yeah,
fit your idea of it better.
definitely. The next class on our list is operative. Um Man, so this to me feels like there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm like, you guys didn't know what to do for this, did you? Like it feels like very hodgepodge. Like there's not like where like the nano like the biohacker is very themed around like mushrooms and like expanding the biohacker. The nanosite has like cool new arrays and things. This it's not the operative isn't bad here, but it doesn't have the same level of like unity and like aha, at least in my opinion, it doesn't. One of the things I'm looking up with there is a lightning reload operative exploit, and I thought I saw one in no, it's lightning hands in this book is the feat. Okay. Almost got you,
Yeah,
Paizo.
that there is a mechanic
Almost.
one for quick reload, but I think it's called I don't think it has lightning in the name.
There's like 3 quick reloads in this game. um
More people need it.
I really so some things I like in this section. I think having a first responder as an operative is interesting. Certainly based on what we've heard from the Starfinder team, they're kind of moving away from the operative as the do anything class and more as the James Bond killer class. So I don't think this is going to be an operative that you can make in second edition, but I'm happy that it's here. I think being able to use medicine for your trick attack is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think
I
first
like it.
responder is also just a good specialization as it's not
Yeah.
super hyper violent, which
Yeah.
I think might fit some groups better.
Yeah, because it's, it's specialization, what is it called? Exploit. Like, you know how everyone gets its own unique ability at 11th level?
Hmm.
It's is that you can spend a resolve point as a standard action to treat deadly wounds or administer first aid, and if you succeed, it doesn't count towards the number of times that creature can benefit from it. So I like that. That is cool. I could see this operative having a multi-class build with like a biohacker or an envoy or something and being quite good. You'd have to be pretty high level since that's an 11th level ability, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, and it's extra. It
Yeah.
goes off whatever your party has already.
I there are some of these that are also like things that I'm like, I can't believe this didn't exist already. Like the feline reflexes giving you kip up as a bonus feat is like, why is wow, I can't believe that's not here.
Or
The
shank.
other part, yeah, or shank. Yeah, you when you use a one-handed non-weapon object as an improvised weapon, you don't treat it as archaic. That definitely feels like something I would have thought the operative already had, but it doesn't. So there is a lot of I would say that defines this section. It's not that it's bad, it doesn't have strong cohesion, and that's because it very much picks places where you would think the operative could do this and it actually can't, which I guess is a good thing, but it definitely reads different than the other sections in this book.
Yeah. There is the mysterious benefactor
That's
line.
very good.
Very good. I do love "You Are Already Dead" as an extraordinary debilitating trick, um, because it doesn't actually tell you how many of the damages that you can stack. Because it allows you to take damage and say, "We're going to have this at a later time. This is a special tool for a later problem."
Yeah. I'm like looking at this book and this says that let's see, development. Dustin helped develop this book. I bet money that he made that name. That's so Fist of the North
Yeah,
Star.
"You're
Like
Already Dead." Yeah, where you just take all your attacks and go, we're going to have them kip up, kick out in like 7 rounds after we just put all this damage on them.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of really good, there's like I said, a lot of really good options. It's a strong section, but it lacks the unity of the other ones.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like the operative is in a good place anyway, so
Yeah,
you're
it's not
probably
bad.
filling stuff
Like
out.
if you like operative, there are probably exploits in the section that you will say, "Oh, I might want that," which is good. Like that's good. You want to be able to take options. Also precog, this is a great piece of art on page 63 for the next section. This is what you want in your time traveling wizard, I think. It's
Uh,
goals.
I why does it have a mohawk
Why wouldn't
or
if
cloth?
I was going to pick a dinosaur to summon to fight my enemies, I would pick the one that just randomly convergently had a mohawk. Absolutely every time. Bring the Mohawkosaurus Rex, please. There's
I think this like the stuff that they get here with their anomalies and everything is just so good.
yeah. Oh, I love Disguise of Ages where it's disguise self, but you make you yourself look like yourself when you're older or younger. Like that's just fun. Like that's cool. It's very cool. Distracting futures is really cool. It is a standard action to surround a foe with glimpses of other times. They have to make a will saving throw, and if they fail, the next ally to attack that target gets a +2 bonus if it occurs before your next turn. And you could spend a resolve point when you activate it to increase the duration of the effect, granting it to the next 2 attacks instead of 1, which is it's essentially harrying fire. Or
Hmm.
yeah, it's but it's like there's no attack roll. It's just a saving throw. Let's go.
Yeah, so it doesn't have dex casting anymore, but it they gave this more time features, which is
Yeah.
something that I feel like it was not missing, but definitely benefits from having more.
Definitely, like, the speed boost one at level 5 where you could spend a paradox to just take an extra move action on your turn.
Or level 11, Blast from the Past, where you harness the power of a powerful past disaster and funnel it onto the battlefield. You ever want to hit somebody with the Hindenburg? It's
That's very unhinged of you, like unhinged presence. The ability to become a glitching blur as a swift action. You spend a paradox to gain concealment until the start of your next turn. Do you know what I really like about these?
Mhm.
A lot of these things are options that let you spend paradoxes, but they don't care what the number is. Like
Yes.
so many of the original ones in Galactic Magic are like carry the 3, divide by 9. This determines your paradox effect, go. And these are like, nah, bro, just throw whatever paradox in here you want. We'll make it happen. Like the game needed things that were just like the paradox dumps so much, and I'm happy to see it here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because boy, that the just looking at those numbers and going, I'll never use these, just
Yeah,
felt bad.
definitely. I agree. Wow, you can mass on it. There's an ability called Apocalypse. Oh, I didn't see this one before. Once per day is a full action. You can use a paradox to conjure a 50-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder storm of harsh winds and sharp debris within 100 feet of you. Move it 30 feet. Oh, so it's like a super powered flaming sphere. I like that. And then it says if a creature enters the storm or begins their turn within, they take slashing damage equal to the paradox used to conjure the storm. Okay. And a creature that succeeds at a reflex saving throw takes half damage. The storm provides concealment. It's filled with severe wind, imposing a -4 penalty. It lasts for a number of rounds equal to your precog level. I guess it's nice that it's like guaranteed damage if you spend a high paradox, but also at level 14, the maximum of 20 damage per turn is not great. That
Yep.
does not feel like an apocalypse to me. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh well.
I mean, you could spend a resolve point when you move the storm to get double the damage, which is better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 40, to 20, it's an extra, it's sharp wins. I get it. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I see it. And it's very, very fun, I think, for an NPC or
Yeah,
enemy.
it's very flavorful. I like that. The next thing is the Solarian. Watch our previous episode.
Yay.
Next thing is the Enhanced Technomancer.
Wait,
We didn't cover this yet.
I thought it was a soldier.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh God, it is the soldier. They snuck up on me. I'm gonna be honest, as someone who's played a lot of soldiers, this section did not really grab me. So but we could talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fighting style, Shaldirist. It's cool. It allows
Yeah.
you to, it's like bodyguard, and you can get rid of certain conditions by being cool.
Yeah. There's a fighting style for mechs. It's great if you're going to play the new mech adventure path. I don't know if I would want my fighting style to not work in most of the combats I do, though. Like, I don't know how that adventure path is going to work yet. Like, I don't think anybody does. But like, it's not fun to have a fighting style that you can't use in your all of your combats. Like when I'm playing my soldier, I can use blitz in all of them, and this is like, oh, here's a niche combat style.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but yeah.
Well, Tunnel Striker's great because I hate doors.
God, every time I hear I hate doors. Yeah, you hate doors because that one time your party tried to blast through the aluminum starship doors and just couldn't.
I've hated doors since Pathfinder First Edition. This is nothing new. I hate doors. They're things that
uh,
allow you to get rid of doors as part of your actions without
my
having to
prob
spend separate actions.
I think it's a really good fighting style, but my brain cannot hear Tunnel Striker without thinking of Tunnel Snakes, and then I just go, ooh.
Yeah, but tunnel snakes rule.
Okay. Fair. Quote the game, why don't you?
Also, secure the area is very good. It allows you to put a 30-foot burst. That's like a forbearance, but for getting your butt kicked, as it gives people
Yeah.
extra reactions per triggering event in that area.
Yeah. I like the gear boosts. They're okay. Twin Tornado is fun. It is a 15th level gear boost that if you can make when you make a full attack while wielding two one-handed melee weapons, two small arms, or a one small arm and one melee weapon, you can make two attacks with one weapon and two attacks with the other weapon in any order, taking a -6 penalty instead of the -4. So basically, this is the only way in the game for Soldier to get Operative's quad strike, but you could do it.
I mean, Crushing Steel is great. It gives you Constrict.
Yeah, I
Me-
do like Constrict.
Melee's back on the menu.
Bailey is back on the menu, boys. I love it. I like how Toxic Overload lets you use electric weapons to overload your enemy's environmental protections. That feels like Thurston Hillman saying, aha, you think you are safe, but no, I'll get you. Thurston Hillman very famously does not like environmental protections, if you don't know.
And next is the Technomancer.
Here we are. So, like the other enhanced classes, the Technomancer has like the full table listing all of its things. It basically gets two new abilities. One of them is Technomantic Talent, which you get at first level, fourth level, and every 3 levels thereafter. So you get a fair number of these Technomantic Talents. The other option is called Deconstructivist. Let's start with the Technomantic Talents. Essentially, oh, you want to go?
No, you're good.
Do it. Cool. Essentially, there is a Technomantic talent for every school of magic in the game, which is hilarious because schools of magic were removed from Pathfinder Second Edition because of the OGL stuff as part of the orc. So congratulations, the last reference to schools of magic in all of Paizo-dom. Here it is. But There's one for each school of magic, and all of them are things you can trigger as a reaction when you cast a spell from that school, or when something else casts the spell. And every single option lets you modify the spell in some way. So, like for example, for the abjuration spell, you can either increase or decrease the duration as though its caster level were additional 2 higher or lower. You can't make it longer than 24 hours or less than 1 round, but you can alter it, which is pretty cool. Um, all of the different schools have different effects like this, where you can modify the stats and statistics. Like one of them, I believe it's conjuration. You can modify the spell damage. And one of the interesting things about these is that you can take the same talent for the same school multiple times and the effects stack. So if I take, for example, illusion says I reduce the DC of saving throws to disbelieve an illusion by 2. Well, I could take that multiple times and go from 2 to 4 to 6. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, guess what? I am an illusion specialist. I will see through any illusion. Or you could be more of a generalist and pick up abilities from different schools and have multiple reactions you can trigger at multiple times. It is very cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I also think that this is going to be a system that rewards you for having an intensive knowledge of how the spell of what spells are in the game and how they work. This option is the spell equivalent of the nanosites and evolutionist item system mastery, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then deconstructivist is a second level ability where basically all of your spell DCs are too higher for constructs, meaning if you cast a spell at a construct, it is harder for them to succeed, which is great. I like that. I think it's a constructs with a technological subtype specifically. It also specifically stacks with the DC increase from spell focus, but not from other sources, which
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah. Neat.
Good that. Yeah, it's neat. What do you think of Rhea's enhanced character design? I know you liked Navasi's.
I like it. It's very green.
It's very green. She's like full of green magic. Let's look at the magic hacks. Magic hacks are fun. I like magic hacks. So there are a whole bunch of different options. They kind of range to like small number increases by like hacking the system. There's a lot of like it feels very sombra to me, like a lot of this stuff. A good example is advanced warning, where you gain an insight bonus to initiative checks and to perception checks to act in a surprise round. And you can cast augury once per day, adding your caster level to the percentage chance of the spell giving you meaningful information.
Uh,
Pretty cool.
Yeah, a
I'm
lot of
good with
things
that.
with the word phase on it as well. Phase stride, phase strike. Uh,
Yeah.
so there's phase strike allows you to go through like walls and stuff, which is funny. Somebody thinks they're safe behind a glass door. You just stab them through the door. Door's still
Yeah.
there. Teleporting. There's phased attack as itself, which is you can kind of see where something's like this is good and this is less good. Phased attack is right next to scan weakness. Phased attack is a +1 circumstance bonus to an attack roll when you spend a resolve point.
Yeah.
Scan weakness is you make a check and then you get a +1 circumstance bonus against attack rolls, and you also ignore damage reduction and energy resistance. But both these things do things. One of them is significantly more personally expensive to you.
Yeah. I agree. I think that this section has like a lot of problems where there's a lot of parallel design within their own options, and a lot of it just doesn't sell me on the fantasy of what a technomancer is, right? A technomancer is somebody who magically uses technology to manipulate things around them, and this class overwhelmingly tries to be Starfinder wizard. Like, but I mean, like I like the technomantic talents that we talked about, but like going into spell schools like that feels very wizard. It doesn't feel technomancer.
I mean,
And
yeah,
then I mean, that's it's cool. You know, like if you like it, I mean, I think that it's kind of I would have liked to see it be something more like I mean, like the one thing I will give it is that it does feel like you're hacking spells, which I like that,
mhm.
which I think is good. But like you can't say that same like hacking feel is like here for all of these options. Like
Oh no.
as a reaction, when your ally is targeted with a range attack within 100 feet, you can spend a resolve point to gain a +1 circumstance bonus to EAC against that attack. It's like why?
Yeah, that's a weird. But
Yeah,
there are two 17th level. I think they're both 17th level. Yep.
yeah,
Technological apocalypse, or once a day you can create a cataclysm and make other technology except yours not work, which is
yeah.
it's like anti-magic field but anti-tech field, and then anti-magic sphere, which is like anti-magic field and just shut
I
off stuff.
I would strongly hope that I think one of the things Paizo really needs to do as they work on second edition is like they need to sit down and they need to hammer out a class identity for the Technomancer that's not based on other classes. Because
Mm.
like to me, that is the one thing that Technomancer has been suffering from, and it's why all of its abilities have always felt disjointed. Even in the core rulebook, the Technomancer's magic hacks are a weird combination of spend a spell slot and gain a circumstance bonus to the attack roll equal to the level of the spell and 1d6 damage per level of the spell. Amazing. Touch a computer and kind of know the vague information about what's inside of it. And like those are comparable in power, apparently.
Yeah,
And it's not.
yeah,
One of those is a skill feat and one of those is a class feat. So I really hope that Paizo takes the opportunity of making a new edition to really look at that. I think that the Technomancer needs the most time to cook out of pretty much anything.
yeah. So Vanguard's up next, and we gotta book it.
We do.
Vanguard, they get new aspects: distortion, suspension, more abilities. One around stealth and one around life sciences. They both are fine. They're more options. I didn't think they were hurting for options, but it's good to have more options.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here for them. I think it's good. Um, it comes down to like, do you like the mechanic with the points? If you like how they generate points, you'll like this. There's lots of cool stuff to spend them on. A lot of it's pretty good. Like there's a bunch of damage options, which I think is something the Vanguard needed.
Oh,
I think it's
entropic
very
rip is amazing.
yeah, I think it's really hard to play a tank if you're not a threat. Like one of the things that made it very easy to have enemies attack your barbarian in our Strange Aeons game was the fact that yes, she had the highest AC in the party, but also she could crit me for over 50 damage at level 7.
Yeah,
And that was scary and I wanted to stop that.
yeah. Entropic rip, just real quick, is it allows you as a swift action to spend an entropic strike to cause your next entropic strike that hits this turn to deal the bleed condition to an amount equal to your Vanguard level. So you can just find animals in the wild, like dinosaurs you don't like, and just make them sad.
Yeah. The next thing that I want is the Witch Warper, the enhanced Witch Warper. This class to me got the biggest facelift in this book, and it shows it. Like
Yes.
I think that like if for me, Witch Warper is the best of the enhanced classes. Then you have Envoy, then you have Solarian, and then Technomancer. That's my personal order.
Um,
It's beautiful.
yeah, I haven't thought about
Like
orders, but it is much improved because yay, they gave you separate spell slots for
yeah,
Infinite Worlds.
basically, you know that chart with every spellcaster that gives you bonus spells based on your charisma. You gain the highest possible number of spell. You gain extra spells equal to that chart that you can use on Infinite Worlds, and then eventually you gain the ability to spend resolve points to use Infinite Worlds too. There, like this, there is so much here that just this one first little page on that first page of the section just makes the class beautiful. It's elegant. It flows but if you want to play Witch Warper, you need this book.
Yeah.
End of discussion.
Yeah, on second
Um,
level, you get something that allows you to use your Infinite Worlds and cast a spell
yeah.
as a part of a full round action. It's great.
You turn into a red mage from Final Fantasy double casting. It's so cool.
And some stuff is
Um,
devoted to like alternate class features, like the lash, the
yeah,
living like the living lash stuff. So there's a lot here.
there is. There's also like an ability where you could rewrite your body into a supernatural version of yourself by like adding like, you could be a shadow kind, a drift blood, a fiend touch, and all those options are spelled out. There's like someone has strong feelings about the Witch Warper, and they did an excellent job putting it in here. The final type of paradigm shift I'm a big fan of. There are paradigm shifts that add new options to your infinite worlds, and one of them lets you summon a pathogen that is burning and burns holes into your enemies' bodies.
Ooh, white
Horrifying.
phosphorus. Mm.
This is what the precog apocalypse ability wanted to be.
Yeah.
When I grow up, I want to be the Witch Warper ability. Okay. So next, this book has tons of archetypes, and all of them are interesting because, like James said, some of them feel like they should have been themes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the auto site, which allows you to do dancing and music to get
Yeah.
benefits.
One of the ones that I think is weird is Armored Visionary because, like, it's 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 the Star Knight, the Galarian like champion knight that we had forever ago. There's even a ninth level ability where you pick another thing and get it. It's the Hell Knight signifier to that book's Hell Knight is what it is. Which I guess if you wanted a Hell Knight signifier, cool. I felt like we didn't need this personally.
You know, it's
Uh,
fine. It's there for people.
Yeah, definitely. There's combat controller. I like counselor. Counselor is pretty cool. It's all about like recovering from mental effects. That guy definitely looks like a counselor.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would definitely have chosen this archetype if it was around for my therapist character. So
Yeah. Exalted Champion is like it's basically the paladin archetype, is the best way to put it. It's very short. You get a ninth level ability, and that is it. But there's like a whole bunch of gods listed.
yeah, it's nice. It's short. It's sweet. I think it's good for the archetype system that they introduce in the book.
Yeah. There's like a lights player, which is all about using holographic holograms and holographic stuff. I think it's okay, but it feels like it needed more space to really be like an option. And it almost feels like it wants to be a technomancer class feature rather than an archetype.
Yeah, yeah, but the art's good.
Yeah. Major League Coach, not one I thought we would have in an archetype section.
I love his little hat. Why does the Skittermander hat go not Skittermander, Sheeran hat go between the eyes? Wha-
It's very good.
It's like
Uh,
how does one wear a hat?
There's also a menagerie manager, which is all about using the combat trained mounts and creature companion abilities, which I like that. Also, I don't that monster looks really heavy. Like I don't know how that Kasatha is lifting him, but good for him.
He
He
doesn't
didn't
skip.
skip arm day.
Yeah, arms day. Yeah,
Arms Day. I think the Thaumaturgic Trigger is super cool. It's basically the Wizard Spellslinger as an archetype. You can like get lots of special benefits for spell throwing. Like you get a spell thrower infusion on a weapon that doesn't count towards the weapon's infusions, and eventually you can just like swap spell gems into it on a fly. It's very cool.
it's nice. It reminds me of the Tau magic blasters from Outlaw Star.
Yeah. Next is the feat section.
There's a lot of feats.
There's a lot of feats. And I am a fan of maybe a quarter of them. There's a lot of stuff that feels like eh, like I you know what? If Dustin was still our co-host, he'd say that it's Katapesh Knowles on a Tuesday feats, which basically means that like they are super specific in very specific circumstances, and if that happens, you're gonna feel like the smartest person in the room, but also that feat is gonna do nothing for you most of the time, and I'm not a big fan of that
I
personally.
mean,
But
the anti grenadier feat line just makes you a terrorist to anybody that has a grenade. Can't even see
yeah,
one on you without just getting exploded.
and there is a lot of really good stuff. One of the ones I like is whenever you hit someone with attack of opportunity, they're off target until the end of their turn. Like if you're talking about tanking options, just putting a -2 penalty on all their attack rolls is a great way to do it. I'm
Yeah.
also a big fan of defensive stance, which is when you fight defensively while wielding a shield or a block melee weapon, you gain the unflankable universal creature rule. That's
Ooh.
awesome. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
There's two that
Um,
I like here that are kind of early on. The first one is Breach and Clear. It allows you to get rid of doors again, because I
yeah,
hate doors. The second one is Bear Down, which if somebody succeeds against a spell you cast, or you fail a caster level check to overcome spell resistance, you can spend Resolve to force a reroll with a penalty, or to do a reroll for your caster level check with a bonus. That's good.
there's there is a whole lot of things in here that like there's one feat in here that's actually kind of crazy for spellcasters. It's called Mystic Opportunist. When you affect a creature under the effects of Harrying Fire with a spell that allows a save, they take a -2 penalty to their saving throw, and it ends the Harrying Fire as if it were attack.
Yeah,
That's
it's
that's
good.
insane. Not in a bad way. That's like that's super good. Um, Another one that's very fun that I'm a big fan of is Lightning Hands, which I alluded to
Yep.
earlier. You either need quick draw or improved initiative. Both are very easy to get. And when you roll initiative, you start with a weapon in your hand if you have one. It's one of those things that's not strong unless you're somebody who doesn't always keep their weapons out. Then it's great. Also, it's high noon somewhere. Anything else that you want to add as things you liked or thought were kind of eh?
um, I think Lock Them Down is good because it
Uh-huh.
allows you to trade Harrying Fire for an attack of opportunity.
That is a cool one. I'm glad that we got Time Touch because Galactic Magic strangely did not have any feats in it, and Time Touch is like the you get minor precog spells, like how they had it for all the other ones. I just like having everything be nice and neat and cool.
Yeah, and I think
There's a
those are good
nice
options too.
Yeah, there's a nice section about designing spells, which might help you if you want to make your own. And there's a lot of new spells in this book. Did
Yeah.
anything really jump out that you liked? Let's pick like two each.
Um, the one so there's Chronosphere, which is the one I really like. That's
Yeah,
precog. You can use it at every level. It throws something and it gives a speed penalty. It does force damage. It's
good.
great. Uh, The other one, I think it's a Technomancer spell, and it allows you to throw balls of light, which are just Zenyatta orbs, and they're just funny.
That is funny. I know if Dustin was here, he would want us to talk about Fantastic Transformation. It's basically Magic Girl the spell. You transform into like some different appearance, and you get like swift action abilities that you can use each round. If you like action economy as a spellcaster, this just loads you with different ways to use it. And also, you are officially a magic child. Enjoy.
Yay.
Uh, there's also I like shrapnel shot. I'm a very basic man. You just give me a nice way to attack with some good old fashioned technomancer piercing damage, and I'll be happy. Shrapnel shot, thumbs up from me. Then there's also this book has a lot of rituals in it, which rituals were originally written in Galactic Magic. Some of the cool ones for me include Awaken Animal. It's just Awaken period, but it's basically Awaken Animal. Invigor
Rejuvenation is amazing.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It allows you to get rid of things like or get like regenerate. It allows you to get rid of negative levels, like casting restoration. Like for
Yeah.
parties that just don't have the abilities to like do that on a regular, this is a new way to get that in there because that could be hard to find if your party isn't specifically kitted for it.
Yeah. I think obsolescence is a great story ritual because you cast the ritual and then it just turns off technological items of a certain level or lower. And
Yeah,
then the GM gets to ask, "Oh, what happens if all the culinary synthesizers on the colony shut down?"
Lord,
Like,
Lord of the
there's
Flies.
there's a there's a good there are stories you could do with that. Like, how many of the vehicles, like the easy cheap vehicles, are only level like one or two? Like all of a sudden, nobody can ride their hover cycle.
What level is a pacemaker?
What level is a pacemaker? Um, this book surprisingly has new creature companions.
Yeah, the bone familiar is great. I like that companions also are kind of filling that familiar space.
Yeah. I think Scooter Root has hilarious art. That's
Scooter
on page
root.
136. The Scooter Root.
Okay, 136. Sorry. Go. Oh, this one. Yeah, this
Yeah.
art is amazing.
Yeah, very good.
He's a big old caterpillar man with a Mike Wazowski head.
Yeah, he's got Mike Wazowski. Um, so then after that, we get into chapter 2, which is all about equipment. There's a lot of cool equipment in here. We're not going to be able to talk about most of it, but I think one of the sections that people are really going to like is the scaling equipment chapter that is all about how to take lower level items and move it up, because I think that's one of the places that Starfinder is kind of struggling with. Like, you can't keep a favored weapon that you have tell a story with. You're constantly buying new things, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and it's not just things for scaling it. There's whole weapon creation rules
Uh-huh.
that are basically what you have been seeing in the cool rule books.
Yeah.
Like the base formula. Like same thing with the spells. You're getting a
Yeah.
lot of here's the way the soup is made. Do it yourself.
Yeah. We're not making any more weapons. You do it. Good stuff. Um, then some other stuff like that was actually pretty cool. There's like upgrading labor, which I like that. Give me more labor rules. Did you see any augmentations in here you liked as a someone who is an evolutionist friend?
There was one that allowed you to take more reactions. I think it was the hyper nerves. Yeah, you can get
Uh-huh.
up to 3 additional reactions per day.
That is crazy. That is really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just like the name of the item, the God Heart. Your commitment to your deity has no bounds, and you open your heart to them literally. So like so each one has like a super specific list of like things that like you get bonuses for when you do them. I like that. I think that's cool. I might give that to Dustin's Mystic at some point and just say, I'm going to replace your heart with a new one.
Yeah.
Levitation souls, I like that, but also I don't know why that exists in a world where I can just put the
Or
good
souls.
stuff, the force souls. Yeah.
I think it's cheaper, which is fine.
Yeah. I think it's funny that they made species graphs for a bunch of the new species in this book. Like, if you want to be as agile as a kitsune, you can use the agile graph.
True, true. And
Uh,
Milo says that
Good.
there's some scaling weapons that might not actually be able to be made as per the rules, and that is entirely possible with a system like this because uh,
Absolutely.
I don't think they had enough time or space to write for everything. So there's going to be some fiat on that.
Not only that, but like part of the problem is that this might actually be the rules that they use to make the secret sauce, like James says, and that but then those rules were never written down somewhere, and then somebody broke the rules and nobody checked. It's kind of the downside about having a strict, difficult to pass rule like that. But let's talk about magic items. Obviously, the Everfill mug is the best item here.
I was at Starship Combat.
What?
Yeah, am I tripping?
Yeah, page 152 is magic items.
Am I? Oh my! I am tripping. I'm sorry.
Oh man, so you're gonna have to get it from me now. The Everfill mug is a magic item that is basically you can command it to fill with a mundane non-alcoholic beverage of your choice as a swift action, and you can do it whenever you want.
Oh,
Did you ever like? Do you like coffee, James?
I do.
Everfill coffee, you got it.
Ooh.
There's also like the time skip crystal, which is fun. You can use a reaction to slow how you experience time, and the next action you take is you can perform a full action as a standard action as a move action, or a move action as a swift action. That's
Hmm.
really good. There's also technological items like the endearing ears, the laser designator, the personal comm modulator, the headphones. All of them are they're pretty. They sound like they do what they sound like they're going to do. You got like the laser designator is basically a laser pointer. It's great.
Ooh.
And then the headphones are headphones. The picture in the book, you would love them. They look like Diva headphones. They're like little bunny ears.
Ah, I would show them, but
And
the downloaded copy I have of this is missing pages 52 to 75.
uh-oh.
I'll
Then
read them later. I didn't know I was missing things.
yeah. There's also some hybrid magic items here, like a hard light pole. There's the telemedicine changer. The Solarian binding crystal is interested. When you are fully attuned in photon mode per the Solarian stellar mode class feature, you can take a standard action to become unattuned and change and charge this crystal. Doing so allows you to store your supernova for later as a basic grenade with a range increment of 20 feet.
Nice,
Just put your supernova in a bomb. There's also this many grenades in the book.
nice.
2 pages. It's a lot. I'm
Wow.
not going to read them all. I'm so sorry. If you wanted me to read them all, I'm so sorry. There's also a whole bunch of new serums. Shout outs for me. There is the many hands serum, which causes you to grow extra arms for a quick short while.
Hmm.
Honestly, if you ever wanted to be a Skittermander, there you go. I also like this picture for this section because it implies that you could just get a serum in a vending machine.
Hmm.
Very cool. And there's also this really nice personal item section that shows like this chill lofi section that's like an apartment with like items that you could buy in it. Like there's an aquarium, there's a privacy screen, a life suit, a galactic map, that's kind of thing. And that brings us to the other rules section, which I believe is where you started, right? Is that the narrative starship combat section?
Yes.
Well, please take it from here.
Yeah, it breaks down Starship Combat to be way simpler. Just forget about stuff.
Yeah,
Starships have
same.
5 hit points. They have a toughness, which is a threshold, which is a measure of how many successes you need to get against them to equal a hit. And a hit does 1 point of damage. So if you have a typical starship, which has a threshold of 3, you would need 15 successes against it to get rid of that ship. You get successes through many actions, not just actions that would necessarily damage a ship. Like things like
Mhm.
realigning your target system counts as successes towards that threshold. There also gives you rules for boarding and just say, hey, just maybe make a check about doing it correctly, and then just run a regular combat. It allows
Yeah.
you a lot of freedom to use your regular actions, and there's whole pages of new actions, but are just simplified versions of the previous things. Um,
It's
you train.
It's definitely better. I mean, when you take a chapter that nobody liked, nobody is a strong word, but that was generally disliked and took up like 40 plus pages in your cruel rule book, and you distill it into something new that's about 6 pages. Good.
Yeah, yeah. There, it's still there if you want to do the more intense version of it, which is fine. But especially when you're at like a society table or a table with new people, it's weird to have to learn a whole second game.
Indeed, I agree. I think that one of the big things that makes mechs more fun than starships is the fact that mechs use the same combat rules.
Yeah.
Um, Now, speaking of rules, there's actually a 2 page spread of GM tools in this book. They list skill DCs for you. It actually takes down and they give you a chart of flat skill DCs based on CR or level. And there's a replacement for how like a billion things ask 15 plus 1.5 times character level.
Hmm.
And like that's not a statistic anywhere. So like you just have to do the math every time and cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give you a couple alternate DCs in that table. So like if your DC, it says that if you would normally be 15 plus 1.5, times your average party level or character level, you can use the DC provided in the table below. So it's just there.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
And it
Very
still
good.
says flat DC still exists. So things like swimming don't get harder when you're higher level for no reason.
Yep. Yep, exactly. Also, this book has a free archetype variant. That's a very popular variant from Pathfinder Second Edition, where you would just get an extra archetype feat as you level up. I would say that free archetype in Starfinder is more powerful than it is in Pathfinder. In Pathfinder Second Edition, free archetype is generally horizontal in power. This can be powerful depending on which ones you take. But
True.
also, a lot of the archetypes in Starfinder are kind of not worth giving up abilities for from your class. So I think this might actually make archetypes playable.
Yeah.
I'd recommend giving it a try as a GM and see if you like it. Honestly, what more powerful than the archetype things themselves? If you would get like a level where you would trade something for an archetype feat and your archetype doesn't give you anything, you just get a bonus feat. And
Mhm.
honestly, a free feat might be better than the actual archetype ability in a lot of
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah, so for that one, archetype earlier where you only got one choice at ninth level.
Yeah. You now get a feat at 4, 2, 4, 6, 10, and 12, I believe are the numbers. Or not 10, it's 12 and 18.
Yeah.
So like that's a lot of feats.
Yeah.
Very cool. I am skeptical to think that it'll actually increase your power level to the point where the game would become unplayable, but it'll definitely be a noticeable power increase, I think.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how you do it, but, Starfinder is a game that I don't think is easily broken and
No.
marginalized. Like, there's not just Pathfinder 1 first edition levels of just making things irrelevant, so
Yeah. Also, one of the things I think is really funny is this book has milestone leveling. Because, like, for me, milestone leveling was just, oh, you did the thing I want you to do. Boom, level. And like to see that there's a rule for it is funny, but I don't hate it.
I mean, it's fine. They've been doing it like they say in the rule in Adventure Pass anyway, so just, like, it's just codifying it.
Yeah. There's also story-based wealth with equipment and treasure, which I am cool with that. I think
Uh,
that's fine.
it's a page,
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I think the page that's the most exciting is the resolve point system.
as if you
The
didn't have enough things to use Resolve on with the new class features.
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on your classes and what you do. Like, I think some classes don't have a ton. Like operatives don't really have things that spend resolve points. Biohacker did not before this book existed. There wasn't a single biohacker option that spent a resolve point.
True, true. So yeah, there's 4 different kind of schools for, resolve points: defensive, offensive, transportation, and utility uses, and at the beginning of a day, you can prepare and choose one option from each of the 4 categories to use your resolve points in a different way.
Yeah,
So, making spells stronger, giving extra reactions, making spells better, moving things with a higher carrying capacity. It just runs a gamut. It really
yeah,
is one of those, like, expansions of power.
yeah, definitely. I I think this is going to be a great system if, as long as you can hand it out to your players. It feels like it could be a really cool part of like a downtime system too. Like if you're going to enhance your powers, maybe you spent your downtime like researching and like focusing your magic, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're probably gonna find 1 or 2 things that really fit with you, and the others you can probably ignore, but that's fine. These are just bonus
Yeah.
uses for a thing you already have and have to use anyway.
You want to hear something really funny, James?
Mhm.
When I originally sat down and like started writing the itinerary for this episode, I like thought we were going to have time to talk about the second edition Mystic class.
Yeah, yeah. No, we're
Yeah,
already a bit over time. I know. I went and reread everything.
yeah. This book, as you can see it, we even rushed the equipment section and we still struggled. We did not make it in time. We skipped 2 classes because we already did them and we did not make it in time. This book is chock full of content and we did not scratch nearly most of it. uh Final thoughts on this book, James?
This book feels like Armory, in that it's something that expands your ability to play Starfinder and to sell it to people.
Yes.
Both like by numbers and by like play in group viability.
I think one of the things you've heard us talk about is like there are a couple places where the either the design or the editing feels kind of weird. Like one of the things we didn't mention is there's like a good number of mechanic tricks that don't tell you the duration of how long their effects last. And so it's like, oh, is this just forever? Am I forever this? Uh which is something that probably needs to be eroded as it gets brought up. But I would say that like the amount of expansion that this book gives to Starfinder outweighs all of the jokes that James and I could make about a few places that are that are lacking, for a lack of a better word. It's a very strong expansion. If you are going to go out on your rule book with style, this is how you do it. Like it's very good.
Yeah,
I would say that this book is probably as necessary to play a good game of Starfinder as Calm and Armory. Like it's very good.
yeah. There's stuff that you like. The class features are something that you should give the new players. The expanded archetype, maybe not new players because that's a lot of stuff to keep track of suddenly. But after a couple rounds in society, people are going to want those things. And even if they
Yeah.
can't use it in society, using it in your home games will really get people into the idea that they can kind of just be a weirdo, which is really Starfinder's strength.
Starfinder's very good at being weirdos. Whether you want to be a sentient miniature star or a talking magical fox person, or whether you just want to be a Skittermander who lifts weights, this book understands what Starfinder is and delivers in basically every aspect. I would say this book is a must buy. 10 out of 10, definitely.
Yeah, it's very good.
All right. So, with that, we've come to the end of our episode. I think the next time we meet, it's going to be in December.
Yes.
I am thinking, do you think we should cover the Mystic next, or should we finally do Ports of Call?
We can probably do both, right?
Yeah, Ports of Mystic, Mystics of Call.
Yeah, Mystical Call.
Yeah. One of the things we didn't talk about is that during this month, in the month of November, the Starfinder team did put out a sort of like a poll to see which species we wanted to see converted into the new second edition system. There was a bunch that were like surprising. Like I know a lot of people were very excited to see Barathus on the list.
Yeah, I think I did Android and Barathu.
I did, I think I did Yasoki, and I know I did the no, I did. Yeah, I did. It was either Yosoki or Patra, one of those two. And
Hmm.
then the other one is the planar scion that's from the Drift. I can't remember what it was called
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I was like, I really want to see. I think I did I did Patra because I wanted to see how they would make it different from Catfolk in Pathfinder Second Edition, and I did the one that I'm not thinking of, the planar scion, because like I wanted to see what they would do to make a versatile heritage. Those
Mm,
that those are my two.
okay.
I think Barathu could be interesting. I was really shocked Skittermander wasn't on that list.
I think Skittermander is ordained to have different plans.
You think so?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the goblin of the setting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they put goblins in the remastered core rulebook, so that's why I thought Skittermander was going to be here. They made goblins core, so
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
because they're
oh,
Corn 2E, right?
yeah. But I'm excited to see what comes out. I'm expecting to see a little bit more. I don't know if you knew this weekend is PAX Unplugged,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they're doing Starfinder demos. I have a ticket, but I've also been feeling kind of sick, so I'm not sure whether I'm actually going to go. But if I do go, I want to like check out and see what the demo looks like. That's like my big driving force. I'm like, gotta see the demo.
You
I
should.
heard that Jenny Jaberski, the developer, is going to be there, and it's
Oh,
like, oh, Jenny,
oh,
run Starfinder for me, show me,
yeah. Give me the sauce.
give me the sauce, Jenny. But that's it for our episode of the 79th episode of No Direction Beyond. It's always a pleasure being here with all of you, and we're hoping to see you back for the next episode. In the meantime, we really recommend checking out No Direction's content on nodirectionpodcast.com. It's basically our hub for where all of our blogs and all of our articles and everything goes up on. Obviously, while you're there, you'll see a nice happy link to our Discord server. And if you're not part of it, hop on in and start up a conversation and let's talk Starfinder and let's get nerdy and exciting. We are a chill, cool place where you can talk about any of the cool Starfinder things that you want.
Yeah.
But I don't know, James, did you have anything that you wanted to shout out to before we sign out?
No, just that the No Direction Network has a lot more programming. It's just not all of it's live streamed. I think we're the only
Yeah,
one right now.
we are the final one. We're the last people standing from the age of the live stream, and we will continue to live stream until James and I get bored of it, which hopefully won't be anytime soon.
No, I'm enjoying it. Listen, I figured
Yeah.
how to learn use scenes for this one. I'm just getting good at OBS, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, right. I mean, those are skills you'll be able to take to whatever you want to do next. Like Param, I don't know if you knew, but Param is like working for a miniature production
Yeah,
company. He does this show with Kristen Stewart, and like
yeah.
he's like a big big guy with his skill set. So like that could be you someday.
It could be. It could be. I mean,
Or you could keep working your job that gives you like a pension and
I
things.
could. I could. But do you think my wife will be okay if I say, "Hey, I just want to grow up to be like Perrin"?
She's gonna be like, no, we have a daughter.
Oh, I miss the
Unt-
guy. He's not dead. I talk to him still. So
yeah, all the time. All right. But until next time, go beyond with no direction.